Hi, I'm Arsham, and this series of videos about computer science and game development are sponsored by Kitakode. I've started taking a course called CS50 made by Harvard, which gives you all the knowledge you need for computer science and game development. And this series of videos are summarized versions of that course. Feel free to check it out for yourself. Now on to the video. So in this video, we're going to be starting with programming. But don't worry, we aren't going to jump into it that quickly. We're going to slowly introduce new concepts and eventually you will know the basics of the language C. But firstly, we're going to start with data types. What are data types, you ask? Well, data types are just attributes of data which lets the compiler and interpreter which convert your code into machine code so the computer can understand. And what data types help you with is a way for the computer to understand how you want to use this data. For example, if it's a number or a sentence that needs to be represented. So firstly, we have the int or the integer. The int data type is used for variables that will store integers, basically. And what integers are basically negative numbers and positive numbers. And integers will take up 4 bytes of memory or 32 bits. This means the range of values that they can store is limited to 32 bits worth of information. So this is the representation of integer numbers and their range. The bottom range is from negative 2 to the power 31 all the way until 2 to the power 31 minus 1. Then we have a similar data type to integers. We have the unsigned integers, and the only difference is that the unsigned integer starts from 0 and goes until 2 to the power 32 minus 1. Alright, moving on to another data type known as a char or a character. The char data type is used for variables that will store single characters like A, B, or C. Chars always only take up 1 byte, or 8 bits. This means the range of values that they can store is pretty limited to 8 bits worth of information. And ASCII has helped us create a map of all characters like A, B, or C to numeric values on the positive side of this range. Speaking of range, the range of this data type is from negative 128 all the way until 127. Alright, let's move on to our next data type, which is a float. The float data type is used for variables that will store floating point values, also known as real numbers. Floats only take up 4 bytes of memory, or 32 bits. It's a bit complicated to specify the range of a float because any number like pi, for example, has many values that you'd like to represent, but originally a float can take up to 32 bits. Then we have the double, which is pretty similar to the float, but it has more space, specifically 64 bits instead of 32. So this data type would let us display numbers like pi with more accuracy. Now we move on to bool or boolean. The bool data type is used for variables that will store a boolean value. More specifically, they're only able to store 2 values, either true or false. Alright, now let's move on to the string data type, which is used for variables that store a series of characters, which programmers normally call a string. A string could be a series of words, characters, phrases, or sentences. Alright, that's the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to be going over how we use variables and data types, with examples for each one to grow your knowledge about them. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. It helps a lot. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified every time I upload. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.